it's Miss Krysta from the Dart Public Library, and welcome to a very special edition of What's Choppin'. Today we're going to be making some homemade pasta dough, and then we're going to cut it, cook it, and of course eat it. Now what makes today's episode so special is that you're probably watching this because you scanned a QR code. And if you did that, it means that you picked up a pasta take and make kit from the branch. Now, if you didn't pick up a pasta take and make kit, not a problem. All these items you can probably find in your pantry, but for sure you can get them at the grocery store very easily. So, our ingredients today are 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 3/4 of a cup of water, and then for our pasta sauce that we're doing, we will need about a tablespoon, if you want that much, of garlic powder, or you could use fresh garlic. And we're going to cut up about 3 tomatoes as well, and some more olive oil. We have our rolling pin, our giant bowl, and our wood cutting board to roll out our dough on. I really like to do mine in a bowl because it just is so much easier to clean up afterwards, and it keeps everything contained really nicely. And then I prefer a wood cutting board to roll out on because it helps not stick the dough too much opposed to a countertop. But by all means, you can use a countertop, a tabletop, anything. Just make sure you clean and disinfect it first. So you have your flour. We're going to be making just a little welt. We're going to put in 3/4 of a cup of water and our 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then, this is why you better have some clean hands because you're really going to dig in here. You're just going to start mixing it. So you'll mix it until you form a ball, and then you'll continue mixing it for another 10 minutes or so. So we have our nice, fresh, beautiful looking dough. It bounces back, it's nice and smooth. So we're just going to lay it in here and we're going to cover it up for about 30 minutes so it can set. All right, so for our quick little sauce, I have 3 tomatoes. I've already cut one up. We're just going to kind of cut them into little cube things. If you have fresh garlic, I would use about 3 or 4 cloves, and I would just slice that really thin. It's just going to be a really quick, simple, like a sauteed tomato sauce. Also, if you have some fresh herbs, like some fresh basil, you can throw that in it as well. So we have all this ready to go. We're just going to heat a little skillet on the stovetop with some olive oil, and we're going to let it cook for about 5 minutes. I'll throw my garlic powder, but if you have fresh garlic, you would put that in after this is cooked a couple minutes. And then same thing, if you have fresh basil, you put that in at the very end when you toss it with the pasta. All right, so we're just going to do a little drizzle of olive oil. Let that heat up for a second. And then we're just going to put all of our fresh tomatoes in here. Give that a little stir. Look how beautiful those colors are. Can you believe these are from our free and fresh fridge? We honestly get such beautiful produce all the time, and I think it's just one of the great things that CCPL and the food bank do for our community. So we're going to let that cook for a couple minutes. I'll go ahead, I'm going to throw my garlic in here now. I love garlic, so I definitely went heavy on it, but whatever you like. You could also do like fresh onion and chop it up real thin and saute it first and then throw the tomatoes in. Or you could eat the pasta plain with just like butter and cheese. That stuff that's really, really good on pasta. And then if it starts to get like a little too hot and sticky, you could always just add like a tablespoon of water here or there. And that will definitely make it a little more saucy. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and lower the heat on that to about a medium simmer, so it can kind of simmer away. I'm also going to add some salt. Also, when you do your pasta, you can add about a teaspoon of salt before you start mixing it. I always forget to do it, so I salt my water super heavily when I boil it. And then I'm going to throw some fresh ground pepper in there as well. And I tell you what, it smells absolutely delicious. All right, so we're just going to let this sit here. In about 10 minutes, I'll turn it off and we'll just let it sit and rest until we're ready to turn it back on and add the pasta. All right, so we are ready to start rolling out our dough. If by chance you have a pasta roller at home, amazing, it makes it so much easier, but we're going to go and do this the hard way with a rolling pin. Also, if you don't have a rolling pin, a bottle of wine or any cylindrical type of shape will roll out your dough too. So we're going to prep our surface here with some flour. This is really important to keep it from sticking. I like to cut mine in half and work in two separate portions, so that way it's just a little easier to control and handle. So we have our dough. I did a slightly on the thicker side, but that's okay. And you can see it's not like a perfect shape or anything, and that again is okay. And that's what makes pasta so special, is that it really doesn't have to be perfect, at least not at first. So I'm going to sprinkle some more flour on it, and then I'm going to fold it, flour, and just be really gentle when you're folding it because you don't want it to stick to itself. And then I'm going to cut it. You can see when you cut it, you can unravel it, and now you have your pasta noodle. So you'll unravel it, right? And then you'll kind of just twist it into like a little pile. And you'll just do that over and over and over again. All right, so we have our beautiful bowl of pasta uncooked, and now we're going to go boil it in some heavily salted, about a tablespoon of salt, boiling water. And you'll see it in a second, but as the noodles rise to the top, that's how you know they're done. And it usually takes like 2 to 3 minutes max. It's super, super fast. So let's go and get started. All right, so we have our boiling water. We're going to put about a tablespoon of salt in there. This is going to give the pasta a lot of flavor. And then I also put back on our tomatoes over here, so that's heating up. All right, so really simple. We're just going to drop our pasta in here. You can see our noodles are starting to come up to the top. Give it another minute. All right, and we'll turn off our water there. We're gonna give this a good toss. Just look how beautiful. It's the most simple sauce, simple concoction. Aside from the whole making pasta part, it really doesn't take very long, like 15 minutes max. And it smells so good. All right, everyone, so we have our final dish. It smells super delicious. I'm going to top mine with a little black pepper, a smidge of salt and some Parmesan cheese. And let's take a bite. Look at that noodle. We're going to get a tomato on there. Delicious. All right, everyone, that is so good. And I am just so thankful that you joined me today. If you had a pasta kit, please come back to the library. Tell us how you did. Take pictures, share them on Instagram, on Facebook, tag CCPL. We're just so excited to be able to do this with you, and thanks for chopping with me. Bye, everyone.